it. Some big news. Had to do it. You've seen the title. There's a lot to talk about here. How you doing, Ross? Let's take a look at the headlines. Paul Big Show Wight has joined AEW and a new show has been announced. We got an update on Drew McIntyre following his absence from this week's Raw. And more new WWE Performance Center recruits have been revealed. We'll tell you more in a bit. So, Paul Wight's All Elite.
He is, Adam. This just came out of nowhere, didn't it? I think in our private messaging service here at work, Justin shared a tweet that somebody did saying, "Oh, look, Big Show's been moved to the alumni section of WWE.com." And I was thinking, well, yeah, he hasn't wrestled since last June, July, something like that in WWE. He had the match with Drew McIntyre after WrestleMania. He did a six-man tag with the Viking Raiders. Another couple of matches here and there. But of course he's been moved to the alumni section. We haven't seen him in a long time. But
Didn't think this. Didn't think this was going to happen. So we're going to go through a bit of the press release from AEW. They say, as 2021 shapes up to be the year for AEW's biggest shows yet, get it? Today, the promotion announced that wrestling legend Paul Wight signed a long-term deal, adding yet another universally regarded names to AEW's roster of stars, legends, and upcoming talent. Wight will have an extensive role within AEW, and on top of his return to the ring, so he's going to be wrestling, he will serve as a commentator on AEW's newest show, AEW Dark Elevation, which we'll tell you a little bit more now. Complementing AEW Dark on Tuesdays, AEW Dark Elevation will air on Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern on AEW's YouTube channel and will showcase AEW's established and rising stars, as well as the top independent wrestlers within the industry, competing against each other in the ring in pursuit of wins. That's how it works. It's wrestling. AEW Dark Elevation will also maintain continuity within AEW Dynamite, Dark, pay-per-views, and streaming events with wins and losses factoring into each wrestler's ranking in the company. So it sounds like he's going to be doing an awful lot with the company. He's going to get his match with Shaq, isn't he? He's going to fight. That's
5 years later. I went to WrestleMania 32, Adam, looking forward to seeing Shaq versus the Big Show. And for, what was it, political reasons or something like that? I'm not too sure.
Shaq was too heavy, wasn't he?
Was he?
I don't think he was in shape for it, so they scrapped the match. I think that's what it was.
Too heavy for what?
Too heavy for the Big Show. Couldn't do the scoop slam.
Fair enough. But it's just, you know what? I've got to say, I am not excited to see the Big Show wrestle in AEW, not even in the slightest. But this is a real statement, isn't it, from AEW? This is the Big Show that they've signed to their, for like, it's less than 2 years, well, about 2 years old now, isn't it, AEW? And they've managed to land the Big Show on a full-time contract, a guy who's been with the other big one, WWE, since 1999, let's not forget. That's a long bloody time ago. And the fact that might have surprised him away, it's a statement.
Yeah, it really is. Although obviously he wrestled in WCW, he's a WWE guy through and through at this point. 100% it's there as a statement. You say you're not excited about seeing him wrestle? I'm up for it, and I understand. I think the value is there in him. If you look at Big Show, the reactions that he gets when he comes out, especially in international markets, where they quite often love seeing big, larger-than-life personalities come out there. You look at like him coming out, he gets big pops, so I can't blame them for wanting to do this. But yeah, as you say, this came out of absolutely nowhere. As far as AEW Dark Elevation, how do you feel about that?
It seems like, well, it's AEW Dark itself isn't really pitting the established wrestlers against, well, I guess it is in a way. How's it going to differ from Dark, like normal Dark?
Well, that's the thing.
That is independent wrestlers coming to AEW, wrestling the established roster members, and then yeah, it seems like it's going to be very much the same, does it not? It
doesn't sound too different. I mean, they do lead with saying it's established and rising stars, so maybe we'll see some of the more regular sort of AEW, the people that we would see on Wednesday nights there. It's shaping up to be a hell of a show tonight. We'll quickly run through what you can expect to see on AE Dynamite tonight. We got Britt Baker versus Nyla Rose. Sting, he's out for revenge. We've got Rey Fenix versus Lance Archer. We've got Paul Wight. He's going to be there tonight, giving more information on AEW Dark Elevation. We've got Jon Moxley versus Ryan Nemeth. We got Cage and Starks versus the Varsity Blondes. Paige versus Cassidy. We got Kip Sabian, Penelope Ford, and Miro with a sit-down interview with Tony Schiavone, and Jake Hager versus Brandon Cutler. That's a stacked show for 2 hours. They've got a lot to squeeze into tonight.
That's just a normal AEW, that, Adam. That's just normal AEW.
There you go, there you go. But the big show is officially with All Elite Wrestling. Next up, quick update on former WWE Champion Drew McIntyre, and He wasn't there on Raw. It was a very Bobby Lashley heavy show this Monday night. I loved it.
I am all for it, Adam. This new Bobby Lashley who was just aggressive, no bollocks, just ripping people's heads off. All for it. It's what
he should have been this
all
2 years ago.
Never mind it. 2006 is what he should have been.
Totally. So Drew McIntyre did not appear on this Monday's episode of Raw, but it's been revealed by PW Insider that he was indeed backstage. He was there at the show. We don't know if he was written in, but he wasn't used on the show. Dave Meltzer, with a bit of speculation on the Wrestling Observer radio show, saying that he thought that if they were going to use him, he says that WWE would have needed to have Drew destroy Miz on Raw, and perhaps they didn't want to do that so quickly. To me, that indicates, because there's speculation also that he's just going to go into a program with Sheamus. To me, that sort of insinuates that, yeah, Drew is probably going to remain in the title picture if Dave has got some sort of insider scoop that he's going to go after Miz, if that's the plan. Yeah,
I reckon the plan, to me, it seems pretty clear what the plan is. That Bobby Lashley, that next week's match on Raw for the title between Bobby Lashley and The Miz, that'll end the shenanigans. We'll go to Fastlane. That's where Bobby will get the title. Then we'll go to WrestleMania, and that's where Drew will get the title back off Bobby. And then Drew's first challenger, surely, if it's not going to be Bobby having a rematch, would surely be Sheamus.
It makes sense. Maybe a triple threat at Mania. They could squeeze the Miz in there. But I think that's definitely where they're going.
Bad Bunny, though, Adam. Bad Bunny.
Oh, yeah, of course. He slapped his face and all that. They've got beef as well. Yeah, maybe a tag team match with Priest and Morrison in there as well. We'll see. I don't know. I'd like to see Drew in the world title picture still, purely because I want to see him win that title in front of a crowd, because he's never had that moment. But time will tell.
Yep.
And finally, 3 new names have been announced as brand new WWE Performance Center recruits. The new known additions, we've got Jennifer Michelle Cantu Iglesias.
I can be your hero, baby.
I knew you were going to do it. I knew you were going to do it. She is a Mexican powerlifter. Very, very impressive. Drew Casper, a collegiate wrestler with a 30-0 record and ranked #1 in the NCAA.
5'11", Adam. 285 pounds.
Girthy.
That's
a big girthy boy. And finally, Avery Taylor. You might be familiar with, because in September 2020, she wrestled on NXT in a Battle Royal. Blinking you'll miss her, though. She's also been in Evolve and Shine as well. And they join a lot of the names that we already know are there. We got Taya Valkyrie's there. We've got Rick Steiner's son as well, Bronson Rex Steiner. Blake Christian's there. Priscilla Kelly's there. Christian Casanova. That Parker Boudreaux, who is
Brock Lesnar Jr.
Yeah, little Brock, and a load of others. It's the biggest intake yet, with around 25 or so people, I believe. So more names, I'm sure, will appear over the next few days. But there you go, big show, AEW. Goodness gracious me.